The hospital security guard grips the nurse's arm too tight. "You're done here," he says, voice loud enough to carry across the waiting room. She doesn't resist, doesn't argue, just stands there in pale green scrubs, face calm, eyes down. She's nobody, a night shift nurse who made someone uncomfortable, disposable. Then the front doors explode inward. Not glass, not violence, just pressure, authority. Marines in dress uniforms flood the lobby, 15, 20, more, moving with synchronized precision. They don't speak. They don't ask. They form a wall between the security guard and the nurse. The guard's hand drops. His face drains of color. Because the Marines aren't looking at him. They're looking at her. And one of them, a colonel with a chest full of ribbons, steps forward and does something that makes the entire hospital go silent. He salutes. Elena Reyes moved through the pediatric ward with the kind of efficiency that came from repetition. 12 hours into her night shift at County Regional Hospital, her body operated on autopilot, checking vitals, adjusting IV drips, recording notes. The night shift was always the same. Quiet hallways, dim lighting, the occasional monitor alarm. Most staff avoided nights. Elena preferred them. Fewer people, fewer questions. She stopped outside room 314. Mia Aldridge, 8 years old, pneumonia, stable but requiring monitoring. Elena pushed the door open gently. The girl was asleep, breathing steady. IV line clear. Oxygen saturation at 97%. Elena made a note and turned to leave. "You're the one who was rude to my daughter." Elena stopped. A man stood in the doorway. Mid-40s, expensive suit, the posture of someone used to being listened to. "Marcus Aldridge. She'd met him twice before during his visits. I'm sorry?" Elena kept her voice neutral. "Yesterday, you told her to stop complaining." His tone wasn't loud, but it carried weight. Elena replayed the moment. Mia had been uncomfortable, pulling at her IV line. Elena had explained gently that the discomfort was temporary and necessary. She'd used the word tolerate, not complain, but she didn't correct him. "Correcting people like Marcus Aldridge never ended well. I apologize if I made her uncomfortable," Elena said. "That wasn't my intention. Intention doesn't matter. She's 8 years old and she's sick. Your job is to make her feel safe, not lecture." "Her!" He stepped closer. Not threatening, just closer. "I've already spoken to administration. I don't want you near her again." Elena nodded once. "Understood. I'll make sure another nurse is assigned." She moved toward the door. Aldridge didn't step aside immediately. He held his position for 2 seconds longer than necessary. A power move. Then he shifted. Elena walked down the corridor without looking. Back. Her heart rate hadn't changed. Her breathing stayed even. She'd been in worse situations. 20 minutes later, the overhead page system crackled. "Nurse Reyes to administration. Elena Reyes to administration immediately." The charge nurse, Carla, looked up. "You in trouble?" Elena closed the supply cabinet. "I'll find out." She took the elevator to the administrative wing, knocked on Dr. Patricia Hollis's door. A voice called from inside. "Come in." Dr. Hollis sat behind her desk, hands folded. Standing beside her was Vincent Carr, the hospital's security chief. Tall, broad-shouldered, authority worn like a uniform. Elena recognized the setup immediately. "Nurse Reyes." Hollis gestured to a chair. "Please sit." Elena sat, hands in her lap, posture upright but not stiff. She waited. "We received a formal complaint from Marcus Aldridge," Hollis said. "He states that you were dismissive and inappropriate toward his daughter. He's requesting that you be removed from her case and formally reprimanded." Elena didn't respond. Immediately. She counted 2 seconds. "I apologize if my communication was unclear. I've already arranged for another nurse to take over. That's not sufficient." Carr stepped forward. "Mr. Aldridge is a major donor to this hospital. When a donor raises a concern, we take it seriously." Elena looked at him. I understand. Do you? Carr's tone sharpened. Because a complaint like this reflects poorly on the entire staff. It reflects poorly on this hospital. Elena kept her expression neutral. She knew when someone was performing for an audience. Hollis was the decision-maker. Carr was the enforcer. I take patient care very seriously, Elena said. If I made an error in judgment, I'm willing to accept the consequences. Hollis leaned back. The consequence is suspension pending investigation. Effective immediately. The words hung in the air. Elena processed them without visible reaction. Suspension meant removal. They'd made the decision before she walked in. This wasn't about facts. It was about optics. I understand, Elena said. You'll need to collect your belongings and leave the premises, Carr added. I'll escort you. Elena stood. That's not necessary. Hospital policy. Carr opened the door. They walked through the administrative wing in silence. Staff members glanced up, tracking their movement. Word would spread quickly. The elevator ride was silent. Elena retrieved her jacket from her locker. She didn't say goodbye. Just followed Carr back to the main lobby. The lobby was busier now. Morning shift arriving, families checking in, the coffee cart near the entrance doing steady business. Elena walked toward the exit. Carr half a step behind her. Elena Reyes. Carr's voice carried across the lobby. Loud, deliberate. People turned to look. You're being removed from this facility due to a conduct violation. You're no longer authorized to be on hospital grounds. Elena stopped walking. She didn't turn around, just stood there, 10 feet from the exit, while dozens of people stared. Carr had made it public, intentional, a message. Elena Reyes was nobody, and nobody would be erased. She took one step toward the door, and that's when the doors opened. Marines entered, not running, not shouting, just walking with synchronized precision. 15 of them in dress blue uniforms, dark jackets, white covers, ribbons across their chests. Then more. 20. 25. They filled the lobby with silent, disciplined authority, forming a perimeter around the entrance. The lobby went quiet. Coffee cups paused mid-sip. Conversations died. Vincent Carr's hand, which had been reaching toward Elena's arm, froze mid-air. A Marine colonel stepped through the entrance, older, gray at the temples, 3 rows of ribbons. He scanned the room once, his gaze settling on Elena. Then he walked forward, stopped 3 feet from her, came to attention and saluted. The entire hospital held its breath. The salute held, sharp, formal, unwavering. Elena didn't move. Her face remained calm, but something shifted in her posture. The slight hunch of exhaustion straightened. Her shoulders squared. At ease, Colonel, she said quietly. The colonel lowered his hand. Ma'am. Dr. Hollis emerged from the administrative hallway, heels clicking sharply. She stopped at the edge of the lobby. What's going on here? This is a hospital. You can't just... The colonel turned to face her. He didn't speak immediately. When he did, his voice was low, controlled, absolute. Dr. Hollis, I'm Colonel Richard Vance, United States Marine Corps. This facility is now under temporary federal jurisdiction. I need you to remain calm and cooperate fully. Hollis blinked. Federal jurisdiction? You have no authority. I have every authority. Vance pulled a folded document from his jacket and handed it to her. Executive order, signed 2 hours ago. Hollis unfolded it with shaking hands. Her eyes scanned the page. Her face changed, confusion giving way to fear. I don't understand what this has to do with Nurse Reyes, she said. Lieutenant Colonel Reyes, Vance corrected. His tone didn't rise, just stated fact. And it has everything to do with her. The lobby rippled with whispers. Staff members exchanged glances. Patients leaned toward each other. Vincent Carr took a step back, his hand finally dropping to his side. Vance turned to Elena. Ma'am, I need you to come with me. We have a situation. What kind of situation? Elena's voice was quiet but clear, the kind that requires your expertise. Vance glanced around the lobby. We should discuss this privately. Elena nodded once. Where? Conference room? Second floor? It's been cleared and secured. Elena started toward the elevator. Vance fell into step beside her. The other Marines maintained their perimeter, creating a corridor through which Elena walked without obstruction. Staff members pressed back. Patients in wheelchairs were redirected. The entire lobby reorganized around her movement. Vincent Carr found his voice. Wait, she's suspended. She's not authorized. Your orders are rescinded. Vance didn't stop walking. Lieutenant Colonel Reyes is operating under federal authority. If you interfere, you'll be removed. Do we have an understanding? Carr's jaw tightened. He looked at Hollis. She said nothing, just stood there holding the executive order. Elena reached the elevator. 2 Marines flanked the doors. She entered. Vance followed. The doors closed. The elevator climbed in silence. Elena stared at the floor indicator. Vance stood beside her, hands clasped behind his back. How bad is it? Elena asked quietly. Bad enough that we couldn't wait, Vance replied. The complaint filed against you this morning. It wasn't random. Elena's jaw tightened fractionally. Aldridge. Marcus Aldridge is a person of interest in an ongoing domestic terrorism investigation, connected to a cell operating in this region. We believe he identified you 6 weeks ago. The elevator doors opened. A Marine captain stood waiting, holding a tablet. Sir, conference room is secure. Agent Ortiz is waiting. They walked down a corridor that had been quietly transformed. Maintenance. In progress signs blocked access. 2 Marines stood outside double doors. When Vance and Elena reached them, the Marines opened the doors without a word. The conference room had been converted into a tactical operations center, laptops on the table displaying surveillance feeds, radio equipment in the corner, maps of the hospital taped to walls with rooms marked in colored highlighter. A woman in a dark suit stood at the head of the table. Lieutenant Colonel Reyes. She stepped forward, extending her hand. Special Agent Rachel Ortiz, FBI Counterterrorism Division. Thank you for coming. Elena shook her hand. I didn't have much choice. No. Ortiz agreed. You didn't. She gestured to the maps. We need to talk about why you're still alive. Elena looked at the maps, at the hospital layout marked with tactical precision. Red circles highlighting the pediatric wing, the ICU, the main lobby. Aldridge didn't file the complaint to get me fired. He filed it to get me out of the building. Exactly. Ortiz tapped one of the red circles, the lobby. We intercepted communications from his cell 3 hours ago. They're planning an attack. Today. On this hospital, the room went quiet. Elena's hands closed into loose fists. What kind of attack? Explosive device. Location unknown. We believe it's already inside the building. Ortiz pulled up an image, surveillance photo of Aldridge entering through a service entrance. Timestamp, 0600 hours, 2 hours ago. He was inside for 12 minutes, long enough to plant something, Elena said. Long enough to plant something, Ortiz confirmed. Bomb techs have been sweeping for the past hour. Nothing yet. But if it's sophisticated, shielded, or hidden, it could take hours to find. Hours we don't have. Vance stepped forward. You've been working here for 6 months under deep cover. You know this building better than anyone. The routines, the blind spots, the places Aldridge could access without raising suspicion. Elena looked at the maps, at the pediatric wing where she'd spent 6 months caring for children. Where Mia Aldridge had been a patient. Where her father had visited regularly, always alone, always during her shift. He was watching me the whole time. We believe he identified you 5 weeks ago, Ortiz said. Your cover was solid, but someone with training could have noticed patterns. the way you move, the way you assess rooms, so he filed the complaint to remove me before the attack. Elena's voice was flat. He wanted me out so I couldn't interfere. That's our assessment. Vance crossed his arms, which means he's planning to move soon, possibly within hours. Elena turned to face them. You brought Marines into a civilian hospital, full dress uniforms, public display. That's not protocol. You did it for a reason. Ortiz nodded slowly. We did it to send a message to Aldridge and anyone watching. We wanted them to know you're still here, protected, operational. We're hoping it forces them to delay, to make a mistake, or it accelerates their timeline, Elena said. If they think I'm onto them, they might detonate early. That's a risk, Ortiz admitted. But right now, you're the only person who has a chance of finding that device before it goes off. Elena looked at the pediatric wing on the map. How many people are in the building? 312, Vance said. 62 of them are children. Elena closed her eyes for 2 seconds. When she opened them, her face was calm, resolved. What do you need me to do? Elena stood at the conference table, staring at the hospital floor plan. 6 months of routine compressed into tactical analysis. Start with the first time you met him, Ortiz said. 4 months ago, November 7th. His daughter was admitted with pneumonia. He arrived at 2100 hours during my shift. Most parents come during the day. He came at night. That stood out? Everything stands out. That's the job. He asked questions about hospital layout, fire exits, security protocols, said he was worried about safety, but he wasn't asking because he was worried. He was gathering intelligence. Ortiz made a note. Did he ever visit areas outside the pediatric wing? Twice. Elena pointed to 2 locations. First time, said he was looking for the cafeteria. Ended up near the loading dock. Second time, said he needed the chapel. Ended up near the ICU supply room. Both areas with restricted access, Vance observed. Both areas with minimal surveillance, Elena added. The loading dock has 1 camera angled toward the entrance, not the hallway. The ICU supply room is in a blind spot. Someone with operational training would know that. Ortiz pulled up security footage. Marcus Aldridge walking through a corridor, phone to his ear, looking casual. But Elena watched how he moved, how his eyes tracked ceiling corners, how he slowed near doorways, assessing, measuring, planning. He's done this before, Elena said. He has training. Ortiz cross-referenced footage with entry logs. He signed in as a visitor. No bags, no equipment. Security wouldn't catch tools if they're small enough, Elena said. Screwdriver, wire cutters, battery pack. You can smuggle a lot in a jacket. Vance pulled up another angle. The loading dock camera. Aldridge appeared for 8 seconds. What's down that hallway? Elena closed her eyes, reconstructing from memory. Maintenance access, electrical room, HVAC controls, hospital laundry, all behind locked doors. But if he had access, Ortiz interrupted, he'd have direct lines to critical infrastructure. Elena opened her eyes. The HVAC system runs through every floor. Plant something in the ventilation shaft. The blast amplifies, distributes. Multiple floors simultaneously. The room went quiet. Ortiz typed rapidly. I'm sending bomb text to the HVAC room now. Don't. Elena's voice was sharp. If he's monitoring, if he has someone inside, sending a team signals that we know. He detonates early. Vance's jaw tightened. So what do we do? Elena studied the map. We send maintenance, routine check, someone who belongs there. Bomb techs stay back until maintenance confirms there's something to find. Ortiz nodded. That works. But it takes time. Then we narrow the search. Elena pointed to the timeline. Aldridge was here at 600 for 12 minutes. He didn't visit his daughter. She was discharged 2 days ago. He came through the service entrance. Where did he go? Ortiz pulled up service entrance footage. Aldridge entered at 0558, badge in hand. How did he get a service badge? Doesn't matter. What matters is where he went. Elena watched the screen. Aldridge moved through a corridor, turned left, disappeared from frame. Ortiz switched cameras. Nothing. We lose him here. Camera's been offline since yesterday. He disabled it, Elena said. Which means whatever he was doing, he did it in that blind spot. She turned to the map, tracing possible routes. If I'm planting a device and I have 12 minutes, I'm not going far. I need access, concealment, and impact. Where does that hallway lead? Ortiz zoomed in. Storage rooms, janitorial closets, electrical panels, and... She stopped. Her face went pale. The pediatric ICU is directly above that corridor. Elena felt something cold settle in her chest. The pediatric ICU. 20 beds, 15 occupied, infants, toddlers, children too sick to move quickly. If a device detonated below, the floor would collapse. He's targeting children, Vance said quietly. Elena's hands tightened on the table. The tactical part of her brain was calculating blast radius, structural damage, casualty estimates. The other part, the part that had cared for those children for 6 months, was screaming. We evacuate, Ortiz said. Now. No. Elena's voice was flat. You evacuate, you create chaos. 15 critical patients, some on ventilators, some post-surgical. Moving them without proper equipment, half won't survive the evacuation. And if Aldridge sees it, he knows we found his target. He detonates immediately. Then what? Ortiz's voice was strained. Elena looked at the map, at the corridor beneath the pediatric ICU. I go down there. I find the device. I confirm the location before we move anyone. Absolutely not, Vance said. You're not trained for I'm trained for assessment, Elena interrupted. I don't need to disarm it. I just need to find it and confirm. Then your techs move in. And if it's on a timer? Ortiz asked. If you're down there and it goes off? Elena met her eyes. Then I'm down there and it goes off. Silence stretched. Vance shook his head. I can't authorize this. Your protocols assume you have time, Elena said. We don't. Every minute we debate, that device is counting down. You brought me here because I know this hospital. Because I've been inside Aldridge's operation. Because I'm the best chance you have. So let me do my job. Ortiz looked at Vance. Vance looked at the map. At the pediatric ICU marked in red. He exhaled slowly. 5 minutes, he said. You have 5 minutes to locate and confirm. Then we're pulling you out and evacuating whether you're done or not. Elena nodded. I'll need access credentials and a radio. Ortiz handed her a badge and earpiece. This will get you through any door. We'll be monitoring. Anything goes wrong, call it in. Elena clipped the badge to her scrubs and fitted the earpiece. Check. Copy. Ortiz's voice came through. You're live. Elena turned toward the door. Vance stepped in front of her. Lieutenant Colonel, if this goes wrong, then it goes wrong. Elena's voice was calm. But those kids don't die because we were too slow. Understood? Vance held her gaze, then stepped aside. Understood. Good luck, ma'am. Elena left. The hallway had been cleared. 2 Marines stood at the elevator. She shook her head. I go alone. Marine escort signals something's wrong. She took the stairs. Down 2 flights, into the service corridor. The hallway was empty. Beige walls, fluorescent lights, faint smell of disinfectant. She moved quickly, using the badge tune-lock doors. Approaching target corridor, she said quietly. Copy, Ortiz replied. No alerts yet. Elena reached the intersection where the camera was offline. She stopped, scanning ahead. 3 doors. Storage. Electrical. 1 unmarked. She thought like Aldridge. Storage. Too many people. Electrical. Monitored. Alarms would trigger. The unmarked door. The one no one paid attention to. Elena approached it. Her badge opened it. She pushed it open slowly. A janitor's closet. Mops. Cleaning supplies. A utility sink. Nothing out of place, except the smell. Faint. chemical, not cleaning supplies. Something sharper. Elena stepped inside, closed the door, pulled out her phone, turned on the flashlight. She scanned shelves, floor, ceiling. And there, in the corner, behind mop buckets, she saw it, a metal case, small, black, commercial grade, target located, Elena said quietly. Unmarked door, janitor's closet, southwest corner. Bomb tech's moving now, Ortiz replied. Get out. Elena didn't move. She crouched. Down, shining light on the case. There was a panel, a digital display, numbers counting down. 0, 14, 2 on 200, 14, 10 on 2 100, 14 20. Ortiz, Elena said, voice steady. We have a timer, 14 minutes. Advise immediate response. The radio crackled. Then Vance's voice. Confirmed. Evacuation order issued. All personnel pediatric. ICU, begin emergency relocation. Lieutenant Colonel, exit immediately. Elena stood, backed toward the door, keeping eyes on the device. 14 minutes. Enough time to evacuate if they moved fast. She exited and ran. Above her, alarms began to sound. Elena took the stairs 2 at a time. The timer burned into her mind. 14 minutes. 13 now. Through the stairwell walls, she heard movement. Footsteps, voices, evacuation protocols activating. She reached the second floor, pushed through to the pediatric ICU hallway. Nurses were already moving, pulling crash carts, disconnecting monitors, controlled chaos, but not fast enough. Elena counted beds. 15 patients. Nurse Carla directing orderlies. Ventilator dependent, needs portable oxygen, move! An infant being lifted by a respiratory therapist. A toddler crying as a nurse disconnected telemetry. 12 minutes. Elena's earpiece crackled. Lieutenant? Colonel, this is Vance. Bomb squad is on site. Assessing now. What's their estimate? A pause. Then Ortiz. It's sophisticated, military grade, tamper-proof. They can't disarm it in place. They need to move it. Can they move it in 12 minutes? Another pause. Longer. They're assessing options. Elena stopped walking. That pause told her everything. They couldn't move it. Not safely. Not in time. The building was in a race between evacuation and detonation, and some of these children wouldn't make it out. How many patients? Still in ICU? Elena asked Carla. Carla glanced at her clipboard, eyes wide. 8. We've moved 7, but 3 of them. Her voice caught. 3 can't be moved without surgical teams. Too critical. We're trying, but there's not enough time. Elena looked through a window. A 6-year-old boy, post-cardiac surgery, connected to ECMO, a machine doing the work of his heart and lungs. Moving him meant disconnecting, manually bagging during. Transport. The odds weren't good. 11 minutes. Lieutenant Colonel, we need you out of that wing. The radio crackled. The blast radius includes the entire ICU floor. I know what happens. Elena looked at the boy, at the nurse beside him, hands shaking. Give me status on bomb squad. Can they stop it or not? Silence. Then Vance. Negative. They can't defuse in time. They're evacuating themselves. Full building evacuation ordered. Elena, you need to get out. That's an order. Elena looked down the hallway, at nurses moving patients, at 3 rooms with red tags, patients too critical to move, at people who would die not from explosion, but from evacuation itself. How far can bomb squad move the device? In 10 minutes? What? Ortiz was sharp. Elena, answer the question. If they can't disarm it, can they relocate it? Move it somewhere the blast won't kill patients? A pause. Then Vance. Possibly, if they had a clear route and containment vehicle. But they'd never make it not exits, Elena interrupted. Containment. Where's the nearest blast-resistant location? Typing on the other end. Ortiz came back. Old radiology vault, ground floor, east wing, Lead-lined walls, reinforced concrete, decommissioned last year but structure intact. It's 80 meters from device location. Can bomb squad move it 80 meters in 10 minutes? In theory, Vance said slowly. But the route goes through active corridors. We'd need to clear every person between. You'd need someone to guide them, Elena said. Someone who knows the fastest route. Someone who can clear the path. No. Ortiz was flat. You're not trained for explosive ordnance transport. One chance, Elena said. This is the only chance those 3 kids have. Evacuate them. They die on the way out. Leave the device. They die in the blast. But if we move it to the vault, contain the explosion, you're talking about manually transporting a live device through a populated building, Vance said. The risk is mine to take. Elena was already moving toward stairs. I'm going back down. Have your squad meet me at device location. 9 minutes to move it 80 meters. Lieutenant Colonel, I am ordering you to stand down. Elena pulled the earpiece out. Voices cut off. She descended at a run, mind calculating the route. Service corridor to East Junction, 30 meters, left through physical therapy wing, 20 meters, through double doors to old radiology, 30 meters, vault at end, 80 meters, 9 minutes. She reached ground floor, sprinted to the janitor's closet. Door open now, light spilling out. 2 bomb techs in full gear crouched beside the device, faces tense behind shields. One looked up. Who are you? Your navigator. Elena crouched beside them. We're moving this to radiology vault. East wing. I'll clear the path. You carry. 8 minutes. The tech shook his head. We've been ordered to evacuate. This thing's going off in... He glanced at the display. 7 minutes 50. We can't... You can, Elena said. Or 15 patients die. Your choice. The techs looked at each other. Silent communication. Then the first nodded. All right. But if this goes wrong, then we won't know about it. Elena stood. Lift on 3. 1, 2, 3. The techs lifted the case carefully, movements synchronized. Elena moved ahead into the corridor. Follow me. Stay centered. I'll call obstacles. They moved, fast but controlled. Elena led down the service corridor. Clear left, 20 meters to junction. Door ahead, opening now. She pushed through to physical therapy wing. Empty. Evacuation had cleared it. They moved through quickly, techs breathing hard. Elena checked her phone. 6 minutes. Double doors ahead. Radiology wing. 50 meters to vault. She hit doors with her shoulder, holding them. The techs carried the device through. Old radiology. Wing darker. Lights off. Equipment removed. Abandoned. Footsteps echoed. Elena counted doors. 3, 4, 5. Vault ahead. Right side. Opening it. The vault door was heavy, lead-lined. Elena pulled with both hands, hinges groaning. Inside was empty concrete. Dark. Cold. Perfect. Set it down. Center. Gently. The techs moved inside, lowered the case with agonizing care. The display glowed. 04.1700, 04, no, 1600, 04, or 15 out, Elena said. Now. They ran. All 3, sprinting back down the hallway, through doors, into corridor. Elena's earpiece still out, but she heard alarms overhead, distant voices shouting. They rounded the corner, nearly collided with a Marine fire team area. Clear! The sergeant barked. Clear! Elena gasped. Bombs contained! Radiology vault! Seal east wing! Already on it! Get to exit, ma'am! 2 minutes till! The world turned white, not sound first. Light, a flash that overexposed the hallway. Then pressure, a physical wall throwing Elena backward into the sergeant. They hit the floor, her ears ringing, vision swimming. Lights shattered. Ceiling tiles rained down. An alarm changed pitch. Then sound returned. Muffled. Distant. Voices. Shouting. Hands gripping her arms, pulling her up. The sergeant's face close, mouth moving. Okay. Ma'am, are you injured? Elena blinked. hearing coming back in stages. I'm fine. The device detonated in vault. Contained. No structural collapse. No casualties. He helped her to her feet. You did it, ma'am. Elena leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Hands shaking now. Delayed reaction. She'd been 80 meters away, close enough that if the vault hadn't held, she pushed the thought away. It had held. The children upstairs were alive. That was all that mattered. Her earpiece crackled in her pocket. She fitted it back. Ortiz's voice strained with relief. Elena, respond. I'm here? Elena said. Device detonated, contained, minimal damage, status on ICU patients? All. Evacuated. All stable. Ortiz's voice broke. You saved them. All of them. Elena closed her eyes. All of them. 15 children who would wake tomorrow. Recover. Go home. Because she'd run toward a bomb. What about Aldridge? Apprehended outside. He was waiting in the parking lot. FBI has him now. Elena nodded. It was done. Mission over. Threat contained. Patient safe, but standing in the damaged corridor, surrounded. By Marines and debris covered in dust, Elena felt no relief. Just exhaustion. And something heavier. The cost. She'd saved 15 children, but she'd done it by running toward an explosion, betting her life on 80 meters and a vault. It had. Worked. This time. But next time. And there would be a next time. The math might not work out. That was the cost. Not just the risk, but the knowledge that there would always be another crisis, another device, another choice between walking away and running toward danger, and she would always run toward danger because that's what she was. 3 hours later, Elena sat in a small office on the 3rd floor. The room belonged to someone in administration. Diplomas on walls, family photos on the desk. She'd been directed here by a Marine corporal. Colonel Vance wanted her somewhere quiet. The door opened. Dr. Patricia Hollis stepped inside, closing it behind her. She looked exhausted, makeup smudged, hair loose, authority completely gone. She stood there, looking at Elena, like trying to reconcile two people in one body. I owe you an apology, Hollis said. Elena shook her head. You don't. I do. I authorized your suspension without question. I took Aldridge's word over yours because he was a donor and you were... She stopped. A nurse, Elena finished. Disposable. Hollis flinched. That's not... It's exactly what you thought. And you weren't wrong. That was the point. I was supposed to be disposable. Forgettable. Someone no one would look at twice. But you're not. You're a Marine officer. You saved this hospital. You saved those children. Someone else would have, Elena said. I was the asset in place. If not, me, someone else. Hollis was quiet. Agent Ortiz told me what you did. Moving the device. Running toward it. That wasn't protocol. That was a choice. Your choice. Elena looked at an envelope on the desk. Her next assignment. It was the only choice. It was the right choice. Hollis sat. I've been administrator here 8 years. I thought I understood what happened in these hallways. But I didn't see you. Not really. None of us did. That was intentional. I know. But it doesn't make it right. Hollis folded her hands. I want to reinstate you. Full position. Back pay. And I want to publicly acknowledge what you did. No, Hollis blinked. No? I don't want reinstatement. I don't want acknowledgement. I don't want anything public. Elena met her eyes. My work here is finished. I need to leave, but the staff, they're asking questions about who you are. I need to tell them something. Tell them there was a bomb threat. Tell them it was contained. Tell them patients are safe. Elena stood. That's all they need to know. They'll want to know about you. They'll forget, Elena said quietly. Give it 2 weeks. People forget what makes them uncomfortable. It's easier to remember the quiet nurse who got fired than the officer who stopped an attack. Let them remember what's easier. Hollis stared. How do you live like that? Being invisible, being forgotten. Elena picked up the envelope. It's not about how I live, it's about how they live, safe, unaware. That's the job. She moved to the door. Hollis stood. At least let me thank you. You deserve... I don't need to be thanked. Elena stopped, hand on the knob. I need those children to grow up. I need parents to take them home. I need this hospital to go back to normal. That's enough. She left. The hallway was busier. Nurses between rooms, doctors checking patients, families reuniting, normal hospital chaos, life continuing. Elena walked toward the elevator. People passed without looking, without recognition. Just another staff member in scrubs. The elevator. Doors opened. Vincent Carr stood inside. They looked at each other. Carr's face was pale, confidence erased. He looked like a man told his understanding of the world was wrong. "Lieutenant Colonel," he said quietly. Elena stepped in. Just Elena. Doors closed. They descended in silence. When doors opened to the lobby, Carr turned. "I owe you an apology." Elena shook her head. "You were doing your job. I was performing for an audience. I humiliated you because it made me look good. Showed I was in control." He paused. "I wasn't in control of anything." Elena stepped out. "No one ever is. That's what makes it hard." She walked across the lobby, the same lobby where she'd been confronted. Coffee cart operating, families in waiting rooms, automatic doors opening and closing. Everything normal, except the Marines were leaving. Quiet, organized withdrawal, dress uniforms filing out to vehicles. Civilians watched with curiosity, but no alarm. Elena pushed through exit doors into afternoon light. Cold air, overcast sky. She walked toward the parking lot, hands in pockets, head down. Elena. She stopped, turned. Agent Rachel Ortiz stood near a black SUV. "I pulled your file," Ortiz said. "Your real one. You've been doing this 6 years, 8 hospitals, 14 operations. How many times have you almost died?" Elena didn't answer. "I'm asking because I need to know if you understand what you are." Ortiz moved closer. "You're not a soldier anymore. Not even an intelligence officer. You're something else. The person who shows up where disaster is about to happen and stops it before anyone knows. I'm just doing my job. No, you're sacrificing yourself over and over while the rest of us sleep safely." Ortiz pulled an envelope from her jacket. "Colonel, Vance gave you your next assignment. I'm giving you an alternative. A desk, analysis, training. Work where you don't run toward bombs." Elena looked at the envelope. "What kind of alternative? Work where you don't have to become invisible and expendable." Elena stared for a long moment. A desk, safety. No more undercover. No more bombs. No more children saved. She didn't take the envelope. "I can't do analysis," she said quietly. "I can't train people from behind a desk. Because what I do isn't something you teach. It's something you have to be willing to become." "And what's that?" Elena looked back at the hospital. At the building where 15 children were alive because she'd made a choice. Invisible, expendable, willing to run toward what everyone else runs from. Ortiz lowered her hand. "That's not sustainable. Eventually, I know." Elena turned back. "But not today. Today I'm still here. Those kids are alive. And somewhere there's another hospital that needs someone willing to disappear." She walked away. Ortiz didn't follow. Elena reached her car, gray Honda Civic, unremarkable. Perfect. She got in, started the engine, sat there. The envelope from Vance in her pocket. She pulled it out, opened it. One sheet. Hospital name, location, start date. New identity, Emma Vasquez, night shift ICU nurse. 6 months, maybe longer. A new place to disappear. Elena folded the paper, put it back. Pulled out of the parking lot, merged into traffic. Just another car in an endless stream. No one looked. No one noticed. Invisible again. Exactly where she needed to be. 3 days later, County Regional issued a statement. A credible bomb threat had been received, the building evacuated, device safely contained by federal authorities. No injuries, no casualties. Marcus Aldridge's name wasn't mentioned. Neither was Elena's. The entire incident compressed into 4 paragraphs. Routine. Forgettable, most staff forgot within weeks. Life continued, a few remembered. Carla, the charge nurse, sometimes paused outside pediatric ICU, thinking about the quiet nurse who'd turned out to be someone else. Dr. Hollis kept Elena's fake personnel file in her desk drawer, a reminder that authority didn't always announce itself. Vincent Carr requested additional security training without explaining why. And 3 states away, St. Vincent Medical Center needed a night shift ICU nurse. Emma Vasquez's application was processed. Credentials perfect. Start date, Monday. Elena drove through the night toward the next hospital, the next cover, the next 6 months of being nobody. But somewhere in that hospital would be a patient who needed someone willing to run toward danger, someone willing to sacrifice everything for people they'd never meet. And Elena would be there, invisible, quiet, competent, ready to save lives no one would ever know were in danger. That was the job. That was who she was, and she wouldn't have it any other way.